Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttamaśloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 23, Devahūti's Lamentation. So, we are entering now the second section, text 9 to 11. Text 9. Evam bruvanam apalam akhila yogamaya vidya vichakshanam viksha gata dhiraset संप्रश्नय प्रणय बिंबलया गिरेश विक्रावलोक विलसिद्ध सिताननाः. Translation.
Upon hearing the speaking of her husband, who excelled in knowledge of all kinds of transcendental science, innocent Devahūti was very satisfied. Her smiling face, shining with a slightly bashful glance, she spoke in a choked voice because of great humility and love. Purport. It is said that if one is already engaged in Krishna consciousness and is rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord, then it can be supposed that he has finished all the recommended courses of austerity, penance, religion, sacrifice, mystic yoga, and meditation. Devahuti's husband was so expert in the transcendental science that there was nothing for him to argue about. And when she heard him speak, she was confident that since he was very much advanced in devotional service, he had already surpassed all transcendental educational activities. She had no doubt about the gifts offered by her husband. She knew that he was expert in offering such gifts, and when she understood that he was offering the greatest gift, she was very satisfied. She was overwhelmed with ecstatic love, and therefore she could not reply. Then, with faltering language, just like an attractive wife, she spoke the following words. Hare Krishna.
So, Devahūti, when she heard this Prema Gadgadaya Vacha, Kardama Muni is speaking to Devahūti and acknowledging, appreciating her intense assistance to his intense devotional service. When she heard this, she was very satisfied. Her smiling face shining with slightly bashful glance, she spoke in a choked voice because of great humility and love. So, this is the relationship between Devahūti and Kardama Muni. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, if one is already engaged in Krishna consciousness, then he has surpassed the austerity, penance, religion, sacrifice, mystic yoga, and meditation. So sometimes we may hear some amazing thing. There are a couple of things here. In Srimad Bhagavatam, like, when there is a Dhruva Maharaj performing austerity, intense austerity for 6 months and chanting the mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sometimes some devotees may want to do that. Prabhuji, I will also do intense austerity. But that is not instructed by one's spiritual master. When one is engaged in devotional service, then it is understood that he has already surpassed these stages. Right? Ahobat swavachoto gariyan yad jivvagre vartate nama tubhyam tepus tapaste juhusna surarya brahmanuchur nama vrinanti yete. By the mercy of Guru Krishna Prasad, we are chanting the holy names, and that chanting the holy names, it's considered that one has already passed through the previous stages of Tepus tapaste jnuvasna surarya. He has taken the bath in all the holy places. He has already done the parikrama. He has done the austerity, sacrifice. So, devotee of the Lord should not get attracted to these upadharmas. This is very important. In Kali Yuga, the path is very clear, right? Harer nama eva kevalam. And because, especially Kardama Muni was very advanced, and whatever he spoke, devotee fully had full faith in the words of Kardama Muni. That and he was already expert in offering the gifts, and he was now going to offer a very special gift to Devahūti, and she was overwhelmed with ecstatic love. And just like an attractive wife, she began to speak to Kardama Muni as follows. So, Devahutir Uvacha, text 10. Devahutir Uvacha Radhvam Badadvija Vrashaitada Maya Dipe Tvai Vibho Tadamaiti Bharataha यस्तेऽभ्यधायि समयः सकृत्स असङ्गे भूयादर्यसि गुणा प्रसवः सतीनाम्. Translation.
Translation: Shri Devahūti said, "My dear husband, O best of Brahmanas, I know that you have achieved perfection and are the master of all the infallible mystic powers because you are under the protection of Yoga Maya, the transcendental nature. But you once made a promise that our bodily union should now fulfill, since children are a great quality for a chaste woman who has a glorious husband." Purport: Devhuti expressed her happiness by uttering the word Pata, for she knew that her husband was in a highly elevated transcendental position and was under the shelter of Yoga Maya. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, those who are the great souls, Mahatmas, are not under the control of material energy. The Supreme Lord has two energies, material and spiritual. The living entities are marginal energy. As marginal energy, a person may be under the control of the material energy or the spiritual energy, that is Yoga Maya. Kardama Muni was a great soul and therefore he was under the spiritual energy, which means that he was directly connected with the Supreme Lord. The symptom of this is Krishna consciousness, constant engagement in devotional service. This was known to Devahūti, yet she was anxious to have a son by bodily union with the sage. She reminded her husband of his promise to her parents. "I will remain only until the time of Devahuti's pregnancy." She reminded him for a chaste woman to have a child by a great personality is most glorious. She wanted to be pregnant and she prayed for that. The word Stri means expansion. By bodily union of the husband and wife, their qualities are expanded. Children born of good parents are expansions of the parents' personal qualifications. Both Kardama Muni and Devhuti were spiritually enlightened. Therefore, she desired from the beginning that first she be pregnant and then she be empowered with the achievement of God's grace and love of God. For a woman, it is a great ambition to have a son of the same quality as a highly qualified husband. Since she had the opportunity to have Kardama Muni as a husband, she also desired to have a child by bodily union. Hare Krishna.
So Devavati, she began to say, "My dear husband, O best of the Brahmana, I am aware that you have achieved the perfection and you are the master of all infallible mystic powers. But as you once promised to me, I am desiring to having a children with the great qualities for a chaste woman who has a glorious husband, that is a great bhushana." In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that Devavati expressed her happiness with the word bata. Right. So if you see bata, indeed, aho bat, just like we saw the shloka, there also this word comes bata, aho bat. So because she was aware that Kardama was a highly elevated, exalted position, and he was a great Mahatma. Prabhupada says, Bhagavad Gita explains, Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha. Mahatma means one who has taken shelter of the divine potency of the Supreme Lord. Why? Because Jiva is a Tatastha Shakti. And just like the Tata has only two options, either it can be dry or wet. Similarly, Jiva, Tatastha Shakti has only two options. Either the Tatastha Shakti can be under the Yogamaya potency of the Lord or Mahamaya potency of the Lord. And one who is under the Yogamaya potency of the Lord, he is called as Mahatma. So that is a Mahatma. And what is the symptom of such a Mahatma? The symptom of the such Mahatma is always Krishna conscious, always engaged in devotional service. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridavratah. So this is the symptom of Mahatma. Now Devahūti was aware of such a great personality that she had the opportunity to become wife of Kardama Muni. And she naturally wanted to have children by bodily union. And therefore, Prabhupada says Stri means expansion. Okay. So the bodily union of husband and wife, and their by the bodily union of husband and wife, their qualities are expanded. It's a very important point here. Right. And therefore, having children is always considered as a benediction. Having children, having multiple children, is always considered as a benediction in the Vedic times. A typical Sanatana Dharma, it is considered as a benediction. Why? Because naturally that's how you are going to expand the good qualities that are within, the husband and wife. So both Kardama Muni and Devahūti, they were great personalities, and the children born to them were guaranteed to be a great personality. Right. So this is how the system of the Garbhadan Samskar, and this is how the system of Vamsha Gotra works. Right. Like a very good mango seed will give rise to a mango tree, and mango tree will give rise to many more mango seeds. At times there may be some accident, just like we will see later in the family of her own one of the descendant, Dhruva Maharaj. In the dynasty of Dhruva Maharaj, there was accident, but accident was accidental. It was not a norm. And therefore, Devahūti desired to have children, and it was very, very legitimate, very, very appropriate, very age appropriate. Right. Yesterday, we have elaborately discussed this point, desire. Right. And she desired to have a child, and then she desired to have the spiritual enlightenment as well. And this is how she prayed to, this is how she requested her husband. Text 11. Tatreति कृत्यमुपशीक्ष यथोपदेशम् येनैषमेकशिर्ततोतिरसङ्गयात्मा सिद्ध्येत ये कृतमनो भवदार्ति यताया दीनस्दिशभवनं सदृशं विचक्ष्व. Translation.
Devahūti continued, My dear Lord, I am struck by excited emotion for you. Therefore, kindly make what arrangements must be made according to the scriptures so that my skinny body, emaciated through unsatisfied passion, may be rendered fit for you. Also, my Lord, please think of a suitable house for this purport. The Vedic literatures are not only full of spiritual instruction but are also instructive in how to prosecute material existence very nicely, with the ultimate aim of spiritual perfection. Devahūti asked her husband, therefore, how to prepare herself for sensual life according to the Vedic instructions. Sensual life is especially meant for having a good children. The circumstances for creating good children are mentioned in Kama Shastra, the scripture in which suitable arrangements are prescribed for factually glorious sensual life. Everything needed is mentioned in the scriptures. What sort of house and decorations there should be, what sort of dress the wife should have, how should be how she should be decorated with ornaments, scents, and other attractive features, etc. With these requisites fulfilled, the husband will be attracted by her beauty, and a favorable mental situation will be created. The mental situation at the time of sensual life may be then transferred into the womb of the wife, and a good children can come out of that pregnancy. Here is a special reference to the Devahuti's bodily features. Because she had become skinny, she feared that her body might have no attraction for Kardama. She wanted to be instructed how to improve her bodily condition in order to attract her husband. Sensual life in which the husband is attracted to the wife is sure to produce a male child, but sensual life based on attraction of the wife for the husband may produce a girl child. That is mentioned in Ayurveda. When the passion of the woman is greater, there is a chance of girls being born. When the passion of the man is greater, then there is a possibility of a son. Devahuti wanted the passion of her husband to be increased by the arrangement mentioned in the Kama Shastra. She wanted him to instruct her in that way, and she also requested that he arrange for a suitable house, because the hermitage in which Kardama Muni was living was very simple and completely in mode of goodness, and there was less possibility of passions being aroused in his heart.
Devotee further continued, "My dear Lord, I am struck by the excited emotions for you. Therefore, kindly make the arrangements whatever will be suitable according to scriptures." See, look at this. How devotee is so sincere, and even in expressing desires, says so much in line with Shastra. Tasmat Shastra Pramanam te karya akarya vyavasthito. This is the glory of Deva. And then she is saying, especially I am concerned about two things. One thing is, although I am asking for the bodily union, my body is completely emaciated. I have become extremely skinny. Therefore, I need improved body. And the second, she said, is that the place at which we are residing is too much in the mode of goodness. So make a suitable house for this purpose. So we can take some pitching lessons also from Devahuti. How nicely she has served her husband, how nicely she is, what background she comes from, what aristocracy and dignity. The personally she is extremely qualified, extremely intelligent and beautiful, and simultaneously having such a great service attitude. And when she is also proposing something, how beautifully she is proposing to her husband, and detailing of the proposing as well. It is not that simply saying that mujhe bachcha chahiye, not like that. She is just saying so beautifully, she is proposing, keeping scriptures in line, scriptures in center, and the detailing of the proposal, that please improve my body because I'm too skinny. And second is, the house that we have is not suitable, so we will need a suitable house for this purpose. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that the Vedas means knowledge. And the part of the knowledge, Veda will speak about everything. There will be Dhanur Veda, Ayurveda, and as an important part of that also, there is Kama Shastra, right? So, the Kama Shastra was written by Bharat Muni, and you will be very surprised to know Bharat Muni was himself a lifelong celibate. It was not that, somebody like some somebody is deeply involved in sense gratification is writing some, the sensual literature, some page 3 kind of a literature. That was not Bharat Muni. Bharat Muni, he himself was a lifelong celibate, and as a service to humanity, as a part of the Shastra, he wrote these Kama Shastras, right? And what the Kama Shastras explain? Kama Shastras explain about the suitable arrangements which are there for the activities of Kama, which is within the marriage and for the purpose of procreation, right? And then this part of this is how one should be dressed properly, how to decorate oneself with ornaments, how to become attractive, all according to Shastra Pramanamte. Veda means knowledge, and knowledge means it is all encompassing, right? Knowledge will not say, oh, this is not the part of knowledge. No, this is also part of knowledge. Dharmo aviruddha bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. So when it is dharmo aviruddha, what kama, dharmo aviruddha kama is, Lord Krishna says, I personally am that the sensual life. That kama is Lord Krishna himself. And then there is an elaborate arrangement. Why? Because then there is a favorable mental condition at the time of conception, and naturally that mental conception will be passed on to have a good child such as Prahlad Maharaj. Why Prahlad? Because there is a in the Puranas there is a story that uh, you know when Prahlad was about to be conceived by Hiranyakashipu and Kayadhu, suddenly a parrot came in the palace of Hiranyakashipu, and that parrot was chanting the names of Narayana, Narayana, like that. And Hiranyakashipu got so angry with that parrot, Narayan, Narayan. He just picked up his sword and sword, and he began to chase that parrot. What do you think you are chanting Narayan, Narayan, Narayan? And he was like about to kill that parrot, and the parrot disappeared. But Hiranyakashipu had this traumatic experience, and that name of Narayan remained in the mind of Hiranyakashipu. And when he had the intercourse, and so one of this reason, Puranas also explains that this is also one of the reason why Prahlad was also a great devotee. Of course, nonetheless, Prahlad is the greatest of the devotee. But this is how the mentality at the time of conception gives rise to children. Right. And that is the importance of Garbhodhan Samskar. So, Garbhodhan Samskar literally means absorbing oneself in divine consciousness and engaging that passion suitably according to time, place, and circumstance. So, there are many studies on this, and there is a very famous devotee couple, that Devdar family from Nashik. They are elaborately working on this particular model of Garbhodhan Samskar. They have written multiple books. They have a app in place. They have many YouTube videos about this. Not only paid services, even the free services also. A lot of material is available on their website, on their YouTube channel, on their okay. So Sankirtan Ras Prabhu and his wife, that this couple is involved in creating awareness about this Garbhodhan Samskar. And this is very elaborately explained in Ayurveda. So Prabhupada writes here that based on the passion, the particular child is born according to Ayurveda. If the passion of the man is greater than the woman at that particular time, then the male child is born. And if the passion of the woman is greater than the man, then female child is born. So this is according to the principles of Ayurveda. Now, Devahūti naturally wanted to have, because she was aware somewhere that, Kapila is going to appear as, and she said that how to arouse your passion if I have a skinny body like this, and if I have a house, hermitage, which is too much in the mode of goodness like this. And therefore, she wanted to house, which is, like when you enter the house, you get the vibe of the house also. Right. Many times the house in the mode of goodness, passion, ignorance, everything is in the mode of three modes. And that's why Lord Krishna elaborately describes about this, how it is. The food is in the three modes, the determination in three modes, the dana, like somebody in the beer bar, he's emptying half the bottle of of the beer and donating remaining half. That is also donation, but that is in the mode of tamoguna. So everything is in the mode of guna, and therefore Devavati said our house is too much in the mode of goodness, which may not be very conducive to the activity of the passion, and therefore please, O Kardama, make suitable arrangement. Now, ISKCON per se, they are also now going to produce some literature on this Kava Shastra also, right? Because as ISKCON is maturing more and more, we are expanding, we are having thousands of devotees in that particular age of where they should be conceiving children and having a good progeny. And this is also a great service, right? And therefore, there are many devotees involved in writing those particular type of a literature, which is based on the Bharat Muni's Kama Shastra and guiding the guiding people how to arouse those particular those particular emotions and sentiments which are in sync with the Shastra, right? Text 12. Maitreya Uvacha Priyaya Priyamanvichan Kardamo Yogamasthitah Vimanam Kamagam Kshattes Tarkshe Va Eva Virachikarat. Translation.
Maitreya continued, O Vidura, seeking to please his beloved wife, the sage Kardama exercised his yogic power and instantly produced an aerial mansion that could travel at his will. purport. Here, the word yogam ashtita are significant. The sage Kardama was completely perfect in yoga. As the result of real yoga practice, there are 8 kinds of perfection. The yogi can become smaller than the smallest, greater than the greatest, or lighter than the lightest. He can achieve anything he likes. He can create even a planet. He can establish influence over anyone, etc. In this way, yogic perfection is achieved, and after this, one can achieve the perfection of spiritual life. Thus, it was not very wonderful for Kardama Muni to create a mansion in the air, according to his own desire, to fulfill the desire of his beloved wife. He at once created palace, which is described in the following verses. Hare Krishna.
Maitreya said, O Kshatta, O Vidura, seeking to please his beloved wife, sage Kardama exercised his yogic power and instantly produced an aerial mansion that could travel at his will. So this is extension of matter comes from life, right? So similarly, material prosperity can come from spiritual perfection, right? Material prosperity can come from spiritual perfection. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that Kardama Muni was yoga asthitaha. He was completely perfect in yoga. And by his being perfect in the yoga, he was master of all its ashtasiddhis. We have seen these ashtasiddhis, anima, lagima, prapti, kama, vashayita, so on and so forth. Prabhupada says, and by this siddhi, one can create entire universe, one can create parallelly. That we have seen Vishwamitra Muni creating parallel universe for whom? Trishanku, yes. That story of Trishanku and Vishwamitra is there. The yogi can create a planet. A yogi can create aeroplane, right? We have seen yogi can create a huge empire of 50,000 crores. Who is that yogi? Baba Ramdev, right? So, and there are many contemporaries of Baba Ramdev, and they say that, he used his yogic power for something, and we don't want to use our yogic power, right? And Baba Ramdev is also, is humbling himself in front of his seniors, like that it is. So, matter comes from spirit, right? And therefore, Prabhupada says it was not very wonderful for Kardama Muni to create such aerial mansion. It was a very, very simple thing for him. He wanted to please his beloved wife who had served so long, and to fulfill her desire and his own desire, he created such a mansion, which is now going to be described in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji. Thank you,
Prabhupada. Thank you,
Prabhupada.
Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Tarpana.